Good afternoon. Welcome to OG Dweeb. Today I've got another D&D adventure module for review. I downloaded this from dmsguild.com. It is a pay what you want PDF download. This is a most potent brew, a first level adventure using D&D 5e basic rules. This first level adventure is designed for D&D veterans and complete beginners alike. It only uses rules, items, monsters, and concepts found in the free basic rules that can be downloaded from Wizards of the Coast website. That means that you and your friends can play this without having to buy anything other than snacks, drinks, and maybe some dice, though even those can be replaced by the many free dice roller apps available for phones and tablets. My friend and I ran this, maybe about 3 nights ago now, and it was a fun little adventure with a few twists and turns, and it was a great introduction to puzzles for my players, trapped puzzles for my player. And we'll get into the spoilers a little bit later, but the premise is that the Wizard's Tower Brewing Company is having an issue in their cellar. And, it includes some of the very basic introductory battles. We were already at level 2. This gave us almost enough experience to get to level 3, but not quite. Although I did add in an ambush on their way, on their travels, that kind of interwove this story into our overall arching storyline. The summary says, this party is sent to deal with a problem that should be instantly familiar to all rookie adventurers, exterminating giant rats that have taken up residence in a beer cellar. However, if they are to achieve their goal, our heroes are going to have to get their first taste of real dungeon as they explore the ruins of an ancient wizard's tower. And with that, I am going to get into the Dungeon Masters portion of the review. If you're a player and this sounds like something you might be interested in, go ahead and show this to your DM and stop now. And now we'll get into the spoilers. Yeah, this was a really fun adventure. There's a nice little trapped puzzle floor, and we'll get into that. This includes a handout for your players for the puzzle itself, for the map, and you also get a printer-friendly download as well, which I printed out and was able to highlight on and use as my notes. The actual module itself is beautifully illustrated, as you can see. Here's the picture on the front. The setup. The Wizard's Tower Brewing Company, a craft brewery known for its hoppy summer ales, is in dire need of help from a band of reliable, affordable adventurers. The owner has posted a job on the local notice boards and is calling in favors from friendly innkeepers all over town to spread the word. The party may hear about the work by examining job boards set up in the square, talking to an old friend, or simply chatting to the locals over a pint. However this happens, they are instructed to ask Glowkindle at the Wizard's Tower Brewery. Most innkeepers and beer aficionados will be able to point hopeful adventurers in their brewery's direction, so long as they ask politely and maybe buy a drink first. If you are running this game for new players, it may be best to start the adventure with them already on the road. In my particular case, I have a little home base set up for my player, and our local tavern owner received a note from Glowkindle stating that his ale shipment would be late because he was having some issues. And our local tavern owner sent our player, who is currently helping out at the tavern for a few extra gold, sent her on her way along with her little assistant that I am playing, a sort of NPC-ish character that is helping her along on this solo adventure. So that's what I did as a setup. I also included an ambush on the road on their way there, to sort of tie it into the overarching story arc that I've created so far. Glowkindle, he's a eccentric little gnome, and he was a lot of fun to role play. I kind of gave him a little voice like this. He was very eccentric. He has a lot of wine tastings and beer tastings. He can't make any kind of money right now because of this awful problem, and I can't make my shipments, and so that kind of thing. I made the little voice for him. He gives the adventurers a pint of his famous ale, and he explains the situation to them. Business is doing well, and they were going to expand the cellar so that they could do some more brewing, and as they knocked through the wall, they happened upon some ruins of an old wizard's tower. And havoc ensued. And as we go through the adventure, we find out. Well, let's get to that. In the first room, you find just some giant rats, and you're like, oh boy, same as always, giant rats, giant rats. Well, then you get down the hall after you defeat the rats in the beer cellar when you first go down the stairs. Well, then there's a mosaic corridor, which includes the puzzle. And it took my player, I don't know, a good 15 minutes to figure it out. And as you can see, the mosaic here, there's a sunrise, a midday sun, a sunset, and a campfire. And the tiles correspond with this little bit of prose here. Dawn breaks with stirring air as sun shines down on new day fair. Midday blaze bakes earth and grass, the former waits for heat to pass. Evening cool brings water, wine, drink, and laughter passing time. Night sees shining, roaring fire, as wood and coals burn on the pyre. And this passageway continues to the left and ends with two doorways, one heading left and the other straight. However, soon they draw near the adventurers will notice that. Okay. And the mosaic is a trap, and standing on the wrong portions of the floor causes a large blade to slice the trespasser. The safe areas relate to which of the four elements was mentioned in the appropriate verse. They are the first panel, air, which is sky, second panel, earth, which is the hill, the third panel, water, which is the river, and the fourth panel, which is the fire. So your characters need to decide, and I had to point out that these little lines here between the hill and the river were actual break lines in the panels. But it took a few minutes to figure it out, but we got it. Any creature standing on any area other than these must make a DC 12 dexterity saving throw, taking 5 or 1d10 damage on a failure or half as much on a success. The trap activates each time the creature steps on an unsafe panel. And so you got to step on the air, then the earth, then the water, and then the fire. And luckily she got it the first time. And then we enter a well room, which basically is empty unless your characters haven't realized yet that they need to move around as quietly as possible when they're in a dungeon. If they are unsuccessful in their stealth rolls, or they just don't make one at all, some giant centipedes hop up out of the well and attack. But here's where the really fun twist comes. The lab. Pardon my dog. She didn't like the lab, apparently. But we go through, and there's a giant inferno spider infesting this lab. And he'll be hiding up in the ceiling. Again, if your characters forget to make a stealth roll, or they fail their stealth roll, they're going to be ambushed by this giant inferno spider. And as you can see, it's a pretty cool looking creature. It is immune to fire, obviously. And it was a lot of fun. Luckily for me, because we only have 2 characters, he missed 2 of his rolls. Or else we would have been in some big trouble. Because he does have a burning web, which recharges 5 or 6 times, roll a 1d6. It's a ranged weapon attack with a +5 to hit, a range of 30 to 60 feet, 1 creature. The target is restrained by a flaming webbing. While restrained in this way, the target takes 1d6 fire damage at the start of their turn. As an action, the restrained target can make a DC 12 strength check, bursting the webbing on a success. Now, our characters are both, I have a bard and a warlock. It would have been hard for us to pass the strength tests checks. So he's got his little special move there. We were luckily able to defeat it. There is a wizard spellbook. I kept it as a wizard spellbook, even though there isn't a wizard in the party, because they were able to sell it. But in the storeroom here, room number 5, we find out exactly where all these weird creatures are coming from. And it is that they have gotten into some of the old potions that were left behind in the wizard's tower, such as a potion of enlargement, a potion of fire elemental, things of this nature. And there is only 1 rat in this room, and it starts out as a regular-sized rat, but on inspection, we find that the rat is actually drinking a potion of enlargement. And your characters have a choice there. Either we luckily made the decision to kill the rat right away, or it would have turned into a giant rat and attacked us. And there are 3 potions in this room. There's a healing potion, a potion of vitality, and a potion of invisibility, which is very rare. So they get a nice little treat out of running this little adventure. Then they return to Glowkindle, and he pays the adventurers and gives them a brew and so forth. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the map here. I was able to, oh boy. I was able to load it into Roll20 without a problem. Here's the map. Very straightforward. As you can see, here's the cellar. Here's the little rubble from where they were busting through the wall and got into the wizard's tower. Over here on the left, there's a staircase which would have went to the old wizard's tower. However, the ceiling is collapsed. The characters cannot make it through. It's impassable. Here's the floor with the puzzle and so forth. So as you can see, it's 1 square is 5 feet. Again, I had no problems with it loading into Roll20. And yeah, so this was a nice little fun module. It had the nice little twist at the end. And again, I was able to kind of weave it into the overall storyline that we're on right now. And yeah, very straightforward. Again, a really nice introduction to puzzles for your characters. You know, the monsters, there was a good challenge with the Inferno Spider, but nothing that couldn't be handled. I scaled back the amount of giant rats. Instead of 8, I used 6. And instead of, our characters particularly did not happen to trigger the giant spiders coming out of the well. I'm really, you know, she's a new player. I'm really getting her into the habit of saying that she's moving stealthily and making her rolls. So yeah, it was a fun adventure. I highly recommend it. Again, it's available at dmsguild.com. It's a pay what you want PDF download. Again, it includes the full color adventure, a printer friendly PDF, the map you see here, and an enlargement handout of the puzzle floor. I highly recommend it. A nice little beginner adventure. Let me know what you think. Have you run this one? If you happen to run it, leave me a comment below and let me know how you liked it. And I'll talk to you guys later.